Yeah.
The place where I live, it's Silesia region. It's an industrial region. A few years ago, there was built a huge shopping center or mall called Silesia City Center. It's very similar to those you have described. Apart from shops, restaurants, and typical meals and consumption, it was decided to arrange a chapel there. Firstly, people protested, but rather quickly accepted this idea. So there is sacrum and profanum under one roof now. Do you think that it will be a pattern soon?
Well, I think there have long been shopping malls where there have been chapels of one kind or another. I know the famous Mall of America, which was one of the largest malls in the world, and one of the first mega malls in outside of Minneapolis has a chapel in it, and people get married in the chapel in the Mall of America. Certainly you have in Las Vegas these famous places where people can get married instantaneously. So I think this phenomenon has long existed. I mean, I think it all very much fits with my notion of the cathedral of consumption. I use the term cathedral both because I argue that shopping malls and other of these consumption settings have been modeled after the church. So, religious cathedrals were designed to be imposing and awe-inspiring, and they were designed to affect the consumers of religion, the people who went into the church. And I think going back to Walter Benjamin and the arcades, and before and especially after that, there were self-conscious kinds of efforts to build shopping centers that had the same effect on the shopper that religious cathedrals had on the churchgoer. So, I think the whole notion of integrating the sacred and the profane has been built into these cathedrals of consumption from the beginning. And so and I argue further in that book that people go to shopping malls and these other cathedrals of consumption to worship consumption. Consumption has become, in a way, the kind of modern religion. I wrote about recently an article that appeared in the New York Times, which was about what were called the mall girls of Poland. And they were about these young girls who were selling themselves in exchange for products, scarves or a good meal. And in the article, one of the church officials in Poland was quoted as saying that this was an indication of the decline of religion in Poland. Probably more accurately, it's a change in religion in Poland, a change from a religion based in the church to a religion based on the shopping mall. But I thought it was an interesting example. So you know about these examples?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. One more question.
Okay, so it is the last question connected with this one. Tell me, please, if the model of Mcdonaldization is present in religion, and which religion is mostly affected by Mcdonaldization model?
Well, there are many books that have been written about the Mcdonaldization of various things, and one of them is a book called The Mcdonaldization of the Church by John Drain. John Drain is a theologian who wrote that book and a subsequent book which deals with the same themes. And he argues very strongly that the church has grown increasingly McDonaldized, and he is a critic of that basically because the church has lost its enchantment, it's lost its magic, and it's lost its ability to appeal to churchgoers. I'm not an expert on religion. I always describe myself in Weber's terms as religiously unmusical. But I know Drain argues that it's the Catholic Church that is the most McDonaldized of churches. I mean, it was, highly bureaucratized for centuries. And I think if you think about basically the Catholic Church's